What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Joe. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Oranos. His name is Hagrit. It's currently 1-1 in this best of 7 series. One game apiece, Boomski and Boomski. We've got a role reversal here. First game was actually Zeus versus Oranos, except with Hagrid being Zeus and Joe being Oranos. Now we see the same matchup, but flipped. Will Joe have the same success that Hagrid had, or will Hagrid have an answer for that early game shenanigery that might be coming his own way? We saw a bit of a brutal game in game number 2, but game number 3 is a new you and new me, and we'll see how it's going to go, obviously, or maybe not obviously, to some of you at home. Joe does have to play a civilization, get a win, with a civilization not named Egyptian. And clearly his strategy through this series is going to be trying to make sure that his Egyptian doesn't get counterpicked by this ugly god. Oranos, one of the strongest gods against Egyptian in the game. And for good reason. Oranos can put a lot of pressure onto Egyptian and hit Egyptian in the weak points and have a lot of success where that's concerned. So Joe's smartly trying to kind of bait in the gods by saying, oh, I tried my Oranos, I lost. Go in with Ra, get a very, very comfortable victory against an Odin, and then try and bait out the Oranos for the next game and go with Zeus. So Zeus is pretty all-around pick nonetheless, but Zeus is really, really good against the civilizations that are good against Egyptians. So the civilizations that are good against Egyptian, in my opinion, are mostly just like, there's Oranos, there's Zeus himself is decent against Egyptian, and then also the Hades Poseidon. He does have, funnily enough, it might not seem this, but he does have kind of like a 50% win rate against the Hades and Poseidon civilizations as well throughout this tournament, I think, even though it does seem like Zeus players lose a lot for some reason. It's just recency bias or somewhat. As the village is now moving up onto this granary over here, going to be starting to eat the water buffalo and doing all the good stuff. We've got ourselves the Tusk of the Iron Boar up here as well, plus 10% cavalry, chariot archer hit points. The oracles scouting around. Honestly, get as much scouting as you can do. Sub 3 minutes or 30. And once 3 minutes 30 comes through, essentially when you click up to the classical age, bring your oracles back home. I'm going to keep saying it until people start doing it. Bring your oracles back home. You can always move them forward later if the cheese, or I wouldn't even say cheese, if the pressure doesn't come. You can always move them forward. The thing is, one thing that players probably don't realize quite well is that if Oranos goes 4 minutes and 30 seconds and wants to go military academy counter barracks, which he normally does, he's got enough resources there to afford a whole bunch of different shit. So he can either afford hand axe, pickaxe, or he could afford like a whole bunch of Prometheans straight off the bat, or he can heroize all of his oracles manually. And Oracle Hero is actually not that bad of a unit. They're kind of like a militia in a way in terms of stats, and they're good against myth units. So, I mean, why not? As we seeing the Jason come forward, that's going to probably move forward onto this house over here. We see the Oracle sitting back and the Jason moving forward and the pressure coming in and the nothing happening here. And we already kind of know what's going to happen, as Hagrid's going to be under a lot of pressure at the very start of this game. He does have some safe hunt back here. So he can very, very easily, this is another way around it actually. If you've got 2 separate hunt positions, you can send different amounts of villagers onto either, and then when the Jason shows up, you just simply retreat back home. No real harm done. So that's another idea here, as we see the citizens now moving over onto the water buffalo, as we see the Katoskopos doing just a little bit of harass over here, as the Jason going to be wandering through. Prometheus just about through. But the citizens just hanging out, going to be garrisoning in and then trying to kill off the water buffalo on the other side here, as he does just a little bit of cheeky micro here, jumping in, jumping out. We see the Promethean wandering forward. The Jason, this is actually a really, really nice kind of path blocking he's managed to do here. As the Jason going to continue the pressure. Hand Axe on the way for Joe. Sylvan Law coming through as well. Hand Axe is actually one of those upgrades I wouldn't recommend getting as Greek. Thanks so much for the 1400 bits, Ricky G. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you, thank you. So the reason why I don't recommend Hand Axe very much is because, like, you can't really afford it, and it doesn't give that much of an advantage or that much of a bonus to your wood. As we should start seeing some units coming forward. For Hagrid, he's currently just focusing on microing his villagers to the best of his ability here. The Katoskopos hitting everything. The villagers come back up to the top side. Oh, the adjacent cannot get through and slice that villager through this slight gap here. He's too fat. He is spent too much time with Agamemnon at the buffet. Oh, Hagrid getting very, very close there to losing his citizen. He's got to be super careful about where that citizen pops out. As the Jason coming forward, Catapulti in, Terma in, another Mamilo coming through as well. As this citizen getting awfully close to getting taken out. Super, super scary time to be a citizen of Hagrid's here. As Hagrid does pop this villager out, 7 HP here, as the unit's going to be coming through again. They might actually get us around here onto the Jason, as we are starting to see some center coming up onto this top location over here. No bolt getting thrown down onto these hero units here just yet, as the Jason does look like it's going to be getting taken out. We don't see the Odysseus anymore. Odysseus coming up to the top side on that. A little bit surprised to see that, but all in all, Hagrid taking just a little bit of damage there, probably more damage done to Joe than otherwise, because Joe's only kind of half HP'd this Mamilo, lost his Jason. That's 100 food, 50 gold. As the Centaur coming in onto this position, we might have to see Hagrid cancelling some of this production, get himself a hero Mamilo over here to try and go after those Centaur in that position here, as the Odysseus does grab the Tusk of the Iron Boar, going to be moving back home with that one. As more units going to be coming out here for Joe. House coming up over on this position. The walls getting thrown up as well. As now Hagrid sitting just outside the base. Does have his eyes set onto this Centaur as the hero Mamilo needs to get that damage done. He's trying to get in there. Gets one slice. And Joe's Centaur is away. As the Centaur over here trying to be controlled as best as they can. We see that Catapultis, the Terma, chasing that one away. Does turn around, trying to pick off that Mamilo. Very low HP. He can get that snipe there if he does it well enough. He's trying to get away. So Promethean offspring searching around for something to do. The Katoskopos on this position getting taken down as well. And we'll see how everything is going to be motoring ahead here. Hagrid going to be retreating back. And I mean, all in all, everything equal here. Hagrid's come out of this early game fairly nice. And Joe, I mean, what's he really trying to do here? He's going to have... He hasn't been touched yet. That's the big thing. And now this is an incredibly defensive map as well. Kind of with the one whole Oasis style map. So he's going to be walling this off. He's got a town center here he can grab with Hippo on it as well. And he doesn't even need to grab that town center. Just with one wall, he should be okay to defend. We are seeing a town center going up for Hagrid, which if you talk to me about what I feel like Oranos should be doing in this matchup, it's not getting a town center at 8 minutes. That is for sure. We do see the Valor getting thrown down on this position, going to allow that citizen to get some extra much needed HP to stay alive just a little bit longer. As Hagrid going to be retreating back. His army on this position needs to come over and help defend this food situation over here, as Hagrid currently has a little bit of idle time going on, as the Terma need to get pulled back here. We just see a nice marker there from Joe dodging those Terma fire beautifully here. Here's the Catapultis over here as well. We'll see. Will Hagrid ever be able to kill a Centaur of Joe's or not? The town center does get spotted here going up, so we'll see what Joe's going to do as a reaction. His food is starting to skyrocket here. He's got a lot of food income, and he does decide to drop the second town center, which, again, especially with a map like this where you got exposed gold, an underworld timing where you underworld from one side to the other to get a gold cut here in the heroic age or mythic age seems like a really good idea for Joe, but not going to be happening here, as we're going to be going into more of a boom game. A little bit more safe, but a little bit less fun. There's one way forward here for Hagrid as well, is to actually drop the third town center if he so chooses. Plenty of resources in the bank to do that here. But now we just have the lull before the storm, as Hagrid's going to be moving forward. He will have to push through Joe's army, but there's really not a lot of units here. Joe's at 65 population of 65, and Hagrid should very easily be able to take this this fight and win. Plenty of units here. 9 Murmillo against 5 Hippocon, 7 Hoplites. That there looks very nice if you're a Oranos fan. But Joe playing it nicely, just getting a couple of snipes with his Centaur as Hagrid's pushing in. Joe retreating away. Has his second town center up now, eating his hippo up, and Apollo was on the way. This is an incredibly greedy heroic age timing here for Joe, but Joe's got access to ceasefire if he needs it. So even if Hagrid pushes all the way in here with his 104 population, he needs to figure out exactly what he's going to do here, as now Hagrid's going to grab his third town center up on this side of the map. And Joe's continuing to motor ahead, finishing off these cows. He will have to start farming. There's a handful of berries over here. He does have some hippo on this position. Going to be a little bit hard to gather from, as the Centaur are going to be roaming out looking for something to take down. As more units streaming in for Hagrid, he's just full send on the production here. Not going to be hitting the heroic age until he is full population. Very standard Oranos as he's pushing in right now. And Joe is just standing very, very steadily here with his army. He looks like he wants to go mythic age as well, which obviously not a bad idea, as the army's moving in. There's really not a whole lot of pressure that he can mount. Now, one thing that I would like to see from Hagrid is a sky passage over here and a sky passage over here, so that he can drop from one side of the map to the other. Considering the resources in his bank right now, he could definitely consider on doing that in the near future, as it looks like Hagrid has stopped production for the time being. Centaur searching around for something to kill. These villagers are going to be fine to finish off that town center. We see the units retreating back. Joe obviously does have himself Apollo here, so he's got access to Underworld. So these Centaur are going to be searching around for something to Underworld, as Hyperion now coming through for Hagrid. He's got a pretty good answer to those Centaurs. The town center does end up coming up. No problems. The Centaur, though, a little bit of a problem going to be mounting, though. Bringing the hippo underneath the town center seems like a pretty good idea here, though the hippo have got other ideas themselves. As do we see a market? Another military academy coming down, and a market coming through for Joe. Joe is getting away with an 86 population, 2 town center, semi-fast mythic here. And there's almost nothing that Hagrid can do, because look at this gold mine. It's still got 253 gold left in it. So in reality right now, like if Joe decides to go Hera here, there's almost nothing that Hagrid can do to stop the second gold mine expansion. But if Joe goes Hephaestus here, Hagrid should be thinking about those sky passages coming nice and forward here. Alternatively, Hephaestus here, Joe doesn't really have to leave his base. He can finish this gold mine off, jump onto wood, and just trade for a little bit here. As we do see the chaos getting dropped onto this position, that Manticore is going to get a whole bunch of damage done. Another hoplite does end up getting picked off, but now as Hagrid's going to town on this wall here, he's going to have to actually kill off that Manticore. So a bit of a misstep from Hagrid, as the villagers moving forward to eat these Aurochs over here, taking down the hoplites. One final Hippocon over on this position here as well, as Hagrid pulling slightly back, but Hephaestus is well and truly on the way here. We see Hephaestus, hoplites, Toxotes coming through. No more Hippocon for for Joe. And the question really does come, like, what do you go for when you do this semi-fast mythic? Surely you can't, as we do see a nice red coming through, surely you can't afford to do Forge of Olympus, Bellerophon, and Colossus all at the same time while getting yourself those armor upgrades you need. So can you even afford any of that? Can you get Heliopoli even? Lots of food in the bank here. We are seeing the villagers coming onto this gold mine. Hagrid, without the sky passages here, he's not going to be able to put the pressure over here, and this town center's on the way. Now, obviously, Joe does still have ceasefire, so even if he was here, he wouldn't be able to put a stop to it, but forcing ceasefire is forcing ceasefire. Definitely something you need to be thinking about as Joe hits the Mythic Age right now. The Plenty Vault gets casted. The Colossus coming through as the Satyr chasing these Centaur away ever so slightly. Picks off one. Will he get the other one? Yes, he does. Those pesky Centaur get dealt with. Satyr, for those who do not know, has a track rating of 10 and an accuracy of 100%. Whatever that means, I don't know. But he's able to take down those Sylvan Law Centaurs nice and easily here as the wooden wall gets broken down, and Hagrid's going to be having to come over here and defend. As where is the Colossus though? He didn't leave the Colossus at home. It's moving forward. So we do have this Oracle in this position, so we can see a nice Tartarian Gate getting dropped down here. But that could only just force Joe to cast Underworld over there. Oh, excuse me, or something like that. As Joe retreating back, not ready to fight yet. He doesn't have any. There's no rush for Joe. Joe's not on the timer here. Hagrid is on the timer. Hagrid's playing Atlantean. Joe has basically told Hagrid is on a timer by going through Hephaestus. As a Bellerophon going to be moving forward. Bellerophon, one of the best raiders in the game. And he's going to jump in here, take down the Satyr, and then simply just retreat away. Nice play there from Joe. 20 seconds until another jump comes in. Definitely don't want to be throwing this bad boy away. 26 damage of pure terror for every single Norse player ever. But so too is the pure terror for a lot of other players, as well as the Tartarian Gate gets dropped in the main base of Joe while the Underworld Passage gets dropped over here. Funnily enough, a Tartarian Gate on this position wouldn't have been a bad idea either. But now Joe's simply just going to retreat back home, say hello to this Tartarian Gate and try and pick it off as fast as he can. There is 2 heroes on the way. The Bellerophon is nowhere to be seen. There he is. So he should be able to deal with those Tartarian spawns fairly simply here. Not going to be too much of a problem here for Joe to deal with. Now, what Hagrid could be thinking about doing here, and it's not happening, is going for heavy infantry, masons, quarry, copper weapons. But he could have gone Titan Age here, which probably is the correct way forward in a big way for a Atlantean player, but he's opting more for the more traditional route of infantry upgrades and trying to get all of his upgrades through. But where does he really put the pressure? A palace over here and go after this town center makes a lot of sense. He doesn't manage to pick off that one underworld as this is all going on, but all of the Tartarian spawns now getting dealt with over here. As the armory over here that's getting Forge of Olympus, getting researched in it, needs to be taken care of just a little bit. As this Bellerophon, come on, get over here. Take the Tartarian spawn down. As the units pushing through here, we do have a handful of Gaia units left over from the first chaos. As now the units pushing, we've got more military buildings getting dropped as Joe a big ways behind Hagrid in terms of score. But Hagrid's got no tangible advantages right now. And ceasefire does get thrown down as Joe needs to start making some real units here. He does not particularly need to make Hephaestus. He could be making Myrmidon. But opting to not do that for the time being, as the palace over here does end up coming in. And we are seeing Hagrid going for a peculiar unit at this stage, the Fanatic. Fanatics are great and all, but right now Hagrid needs to find some sort of an advantage, which is taking this town center down. And there is a beautiful, beautiful choke point here where you could get yourself Fire Siphon and the upgrade for said Fire Siphon, which is siege engineers, and then sit behind this location, wall this in, and then fire something from afar, and you can take this town center down very, very easily. As we'll see how it's all going to be going. The Bellerophon going to be searching around for something to kill. The big thing about Bellerophon is he costs 4 population, and if you're raiding with Bellerophon, it takes way more than 4 population to deal with him, but it does require heavy amounts of APM and control to get the value out of it, and we are going to be seeing Bellerophon getting slightly caught out here and getting sniped down at the very start of the fight, as we see the Lampeter using the special ability there. Probably might have wanted to keep that one around until that Colossus came into view, but the Colossus retreating back already. Joe's still not ready to fight, getting himself copper weapons, copper mail, bowsaw, flood control, bronze shields, architects, champion infantry coming through now for Hagrid, as he is motoring ahead in this game. Those infantry units trying to do as much as they can to the Hypaspis. We see a bolt getting dropped there onto the onto the whatever you call that thing, Lampeter, as well as a Chaos getting dropped there, hitting the Colossus, hitting the units. The Colossus is going to be causing just a little bit of an issue for Joe in the near future, as a guard tower getting dropped over here. Walls coming up onto this position. Hagrid could be trying to claim this location over here as well, as another palace getting dropped down. I'm surprised to see no attempt at controlling this location here from Hagrid, as Engineers is coming through. Iron Shields on the way. And Hagrid is wandering through here. He's got himself the fire stuff. He's got himself the champion Mermillo, nearly full bronze. Iron shields on the way. Joe, on the other hand, only full copper. He doesn't have the resources right now. He doesn't have fortified town centers. He's just about to get heavy infantry. We have ourselves archers. We've got ourselves infantry behind here. And you do have to be a little bit aware of the strength of the Greek army. So one way to push through for the Atlanteans is to drop a whole bunch of towers in here on the position you're trying to push forward with. As we see, still a handful of Terma are out here. Definitely not a unit that Hagrid's too happy about having right now, but they haven't been sniped down just yet. They are getting some damage done, but it's a very small amount of damage and a very slow amount of damage to be coming through. As Jamino's coming through as well for Hagrid, as he's potentially going to be making a couple more satyr in this game. And now we have a Heliopoli coming onto this position. A really, really nice counter to the Fire Siphon is the Heliopoli, dealing 17 crush damage, 5 pierce damage. The crush armor that a Fire Siphon has is only 60%, so the Heliopoli is going to be able to take this down very, very fast. So too do Fire Siphon take down Heliopoli fast, but that's kind of about it here. There's a Bellerophon wandering onto this position. One tower up on this position, not going to really be enough here, as Hagrid's kind of spending all his resources, losing all his units, and not setting up all too correctly on this push. He does have an advantage, but he needs to convert that advantage into a tangible advantage. So right now his advantage is just economy, and he doesn't have a tangible advantage. Tangible advantages are full gold control, a town center control, like an extra town center, so taking this one down, or controlling corners and having trade. Right now, Joe has got access to his corner, access to 3 town centers, and not a care in the world for how long this game can potentially go on for, because he's going to be happy the longer it goes, no matter what. As we see the Heliopoli going to be trying to take down the wall over here. The Fire Siphon should be clicking onto the Heliopoli, which it looks like they're actually doing now. You can see the damage that they can do is quite significant, and where a unit that I would consider to be possibly the strongest unit in the game, the Heliopolis, turns into an incredibly weak unit when your opponent has got the Fire Siphon shooting from range. However, if the Heliopoli is fighting back, it's not as big of a deal there. As Heliopoli does get picked off, and Hagrid is going to continue putting pressure through here. Joe's at 200 food, 800 wood, 100 gold. Flight control on the way here for Hagrid is about to be, I would assume, full economic upgrades. Yes, full economic upgrades on the way. Joe, on the other hand, has himself bowsaw, has himself pickaxe, and flood control. Funnily enough, those are the exact upgrades he should have to maximize his economy for the resources he puts into it. But he definitely, Joe is definitely missing out on the fully upgraded carpenters and quarry upgrades that he probably should have at 21 minutes 57 seconds into the game here. As the Fire Siphon getting dealt with. Joe's still trying to push through. Champion archers on the way right now for Hagrid as he's trying to make this work. Plenty of resources in the bank, though, for Hagrid, as the Fire Siphon wandering through. Funnily enough, like, if we just went Towers Fire Siphon here instead of getting medium or heavy archers and champion archers and spending all the wood on archers, I think this game would be a little bit different, and something that Oranos players should probably consider is not going Arcus against Greek in this position, because they can just spend the resources on Fire Siphon towers, and the towers pick up everything. The Fire Siphon take down the enemy Heliopoli, and then you can just hold the position in that way, but not happening here, as now the Heliopoli coming back in, going to deal with this Fire Siphon completely easily and fine. So the Fire Siphon doing a little bit of damage, but does end up getting picked off. Heroic Renewal coming through for Hagrid as well. That's actually a really, really big technology, but you need to have like heroes. See that it heals your heroes, I believe, at like 2 HP a second or something crazy. So 109 HP. Mamillo is going to be back up to full HP very, very quick after that Heroic Renewal comes in, as the Arc is pushing forward, trying to get some damage done on to the front here. As it turns around, gets more damage done. Fire Siphon going after the Heliopoli over here. The tower on the front going up as fast as it possibly can here. Iron Shield's Oracle, Fortified Town Center is finally coming through for Joe, as Joe is starting to stabilize. He's even started his trade route over here, pushing forward onto this front with military academies. He can very easily change the front if he so chooses. With 7 military academies, he can very easily just say, all right, going to stop production of units, try and hold here with buildings, make 7 Murmillo or 2 rounds of Murmillo up to 14 Murmillo to go after buildings on the top side of the map where Hagrid is not. Hagrid is not up here. Obviously, Hagrid can make a sky passage and get over here very fast, but he doesn't have any sky passages yet, and that's definitely a mistake here for Hagrid on a map so difficult to navigate. But the Fire Siphon here actually managing to finally make some ground, as Bellerophon coming back in to try and take some of these down. We do see Shockwave being thrown down by Hagrid as he's getting a little bit fed up with not being able to push through. The town center falls. Stonewall coming through for Hagrid. Powers coming down on the front over here to try and control this position even more. And now it looks like Hagrid has managed to somewhat find some sort of an advantage here in this game. He's taken the town center down. That's 1 town center down, so 160 to 140 population, a 20 population lead now for Hagrid. We'll see if he's going to be able to convert it. Let's check out the armory upgrades here. Full iron nearly for Hagrid versus Joe's nearly, well, he's got full bronze, missing out on those crucial weapon and mail upgrades here. As we do see a Heliopoli coming forward to try and take down this palace over here. Celerity coming through. I'm not actually sure what that technology does. I haven't seen it grabbed before. 40% reduction in myth unit training time, as well as mythic rejuvenation on the way. Honestly surprised to see. I didn't realize that was even an upgrade. Didn't even realize that was an upgrade here. Now, when your opponent's got no population, what should you do? Well, one, you could take their town center, but what else should you do apart from pushing this position? Well, let's push through here. Let's make sure this is defended. Let's get ourselves sky passages. Let's make sure there's no way that we end up losing the game here, as Joe is very clearly got an idea in mind, and it's when you lose a front, try and take one back elsewhere. As this palace manages to stay up, the villagers can come over here onto this settlement over here. We still don't see that sky passage coming up, as now we see Joe starting to roll forward 3 Heliopoli, a handful of Murmillo, and some Toxotes going to be coming in to try and take down Hagrid's life here. The stone walls here going to go down incredibly fast. Heliopoli, as the unit's still pushing forward here. Got a lot of Arcus on this position, taking down villagers, as they're going to be retreating away. The tower's coming up here. Hagrid taking his time. This might be one of those periods when you see all of the population at the bottom, where going for this town center is vitally important here. As the units pushing in, Palace going to be going down here. Is some units trying to take out these Heliopoli. The temple on the front here for Joe up, so he could make some Colossus nice and strongly here. And there's the town center coming up for Hagrid. As we've got Fire Siphon pushing through these buildings. Joe's base is very, very open and bare here. No units on this position, but guess what? Joe's infantry are Zeus infantry, so they can base trade much, much faster. Do we see any attempt at a sky passage? How many times do I have to plead for a sky passage? Give me a sky passage. Hagrid losing his town center. Hagrid right now has got enough resources to get Titan nearly 2 times over. As his third town center, well, his town center over here going to be going up pretty quickly. 4th citizen on it will be a big deal here, as more military buildings getting taken down on this position. As we do see a handful of units coming through for Hagrid to try and hold here, as the palace now getting taken down as well. And potentially Joe's going to attempt to grab this town center for himself, but then he will have his hometown center to worry about, as Hagrid is for sure going to get the town center up first here. So we'll see what he's going to do. Does miss out on a house somewhere, so he has to rebuild that one. His trade route has been stopped. Maybe sending it over to here, it's fine. Maybe sending it over here, it's fine. Who knows? We'll see what he's going to pick. Palace getting dropped. Military barracks getting dropped. Armory getting taken out. Secrets of the Tides now being researched for Hagrid, as Hagrid forgetting his mana somewhere. Obviously, it was just killed or something, but there's the mana coming up, as the palace coming through as well. The fire siphon's rolling in. Joe's getting his 3rd town center back. The citizen here did manage to take down 3 Heliopoli. Man, citizen are disgusting units. They pick off siege incredibly fast, and now we see random colossi over here. The spy siphon moving forward. These Murmillo able to deal with these Myrmidon able to deal with Murmillo incredibly easily here, as more towers coming up on the front, as Hagrid's going to slow push this position here. The palace are not able to come up just yet, as some more Murmillo moving in onto this position. Actually, the palace is still getting built with the 1 citizen that is here. Heliopoli on the way here to try and take this one down. Hagrid's going to jump in, jump out, and try and get onto this Heliopolis here and take that one down. If you don't pay attention, it dies incredibly fast. With that HP getting down, that's 500 resources down the drain incredibly fast here. Town center on the way up here. We do see some fanatics getting built here in an attempt to hold this position, but no population right now for Hagrid, as he does get that Secrets of the Tides. We'll see where he wants to throw that one down. Where's the most safe if he even needs to. As the Odysseus goes down, more units pushing in onto this position. We've got 4 fire siphon coming through here, and the big question is, can Hagrid and Hagrid's fire siphon kill this town center without too much of an issue here? While Joe is getting himself his 3rd town center back up, and that's going to be a big deal. But right now, Joe's got another problem on his plate, and that's that he doesn't have food economy here. His farms have been taken out of this town center. His hometown center farms are dealt with as well. The farms in this corner that he threw down are dealt with, and now Joe is back down to 2 town centers without any food economy. He's going to find it very tough to continue in this game, as we do see these Heliopoli getting taken down, more fanatics coming through. The town center is up for Joe, but I mean, for how long? Maybe Hagrid can start building some more fire siphon here to try and deal with this one. The palace with very low HP. Oh, excuse me, it's getting late. As the fire siphon moving in and try and take these Heliopoli down. The Heliopolis do fall very fast. Palace trying to be repaired back up as fast as it possibly can, but getting taken down incredibly quickly. Hagrid out of gold right now for the time being. There is actually no gold left on the map now, so you do need to go up to like 20, 30 llama caravans here if you want to find any sort of victory. As Joe now pushing through with his Colossus. Hagrid doesn't have any real help dealing with those, as the 2 fire siphon now going to be taking out Joe's 2nd town center or 3rd town center. I guess his home town center is getting rebuilt. The Heliopoli coming back in onto this position to try and take down the palace here, as the village is coming through as well to deal with the fire siphon, but the town center does end up falling over on this position. We do see some hero units getting created, and look at that HP regen for the destroyer. Just look at that. 1.5 HP a second regen speed. Absolutely bonkers. as the Colossus trying to ignore the units, but will indeed get taken down as more fire siphon onto this position. The villagers have managed to keep the town, the palace alive here, and the Heliopoli all end up falling as Hagrid needs to think about getting himself this third town center. The llama caravans right now only getting 59 gold, whereas the donkey caravan's getting also 59 gold actually. So exactly the same here for both players with that market in the direct corner at this point. So that's a big deal here, as Joe's still fighting to come back into this game and find some way to get a win. As the citizen here for Hagrid going to be getting his town center back, and he's going to be going up to 180 population, and that is almost an insurmountable task. 140 population versus 180 population when your opponent's full iron upgrades, full champion upgrades, and in a good position. We'll see what Hagrid's got up his sleeves. What Joe's got up his sleeves. He does have himself 12 Myrmidon here. Myrmidon, as we know, very strong at taking down buildings, and more palaces coming up for Hagrid though, as he's trying to hold this position as best as he can with the buildings. As Joe pulls back, Joe is 140 of 140 population at this point, so he's at full pop, but mostly just Myrmidon and Heliopoli. So not the easiest army to deal with, but not the easiest army to make crazy amounts of progress if your opponent counters it nicely. As Hagrid can now start thinking about taking down Joe's actual, is it third town center? Ooh, I guess it's third town center in a way. As the Heliopoli pushing through here, able to take down this palace very, very quickly. We see Burning Pitch coming through for Hagrid. The towers getting taken down as the Fire Siphon rolling in here to take out the Heliopoli as best as he possibly can. Another Fire Siphon going to be moving in. Heliopoli goes down. Units pushing through to take down everything else. And now Hagrid's 4 town centers is 179 of 180 population. He's got himself a Titan Gate that he can throw down if he so chooses. He doesn't need to necessarily rush it up with tons of citizen or anything like that. You might want to consider going up to like 40 llama caravans if you can. But he is just simply trying to hold. But Joe is unrelenting. He's going to revisit this location. However, Hagrid's already here. He's got himself 3 Archers, 2 Fanatics, hanging in here, trying to hold this position as best as he possibly can. As now the units over here do get dealt with, and Hagrid's still going to be rolling his Fire Siphon in to push in here onto this town center. As the Heliopoli trying to take down some of this as well. We see the Heliopolis here getting destroyed. As the citizen going to be popping up a palace on this position, and in that moment Joe does decide the game is lost. Being in what seemed to be a losing position for like the past 10 minutes, trying to hold on, actually managed to make a nice comeback here to get 3 town centers back, but without the food production, it really made it hard for Joe when he had 160 population to make 160 population worth of units here. And he just wasn't able to quite solidify it. Thanks so much for the Prime Black Plant. Appreciate you so much, my friend. But he just wasn't able to like recuperate the losses that he's had. And while his strategy seemingly to me worked really, really nicely, I don't particularly like the underworld usage. I think you just hold it until later, and then when your opponent is pushing, that's when you underworld, because that's when they're misstepping. Hagrid not using Sky Passages here really did give a gaping weakness that otherwise shouldn't have been there, but Joe was not able to take advantage of it. And now Hagrid goes up 2 wins to 1 in this best of 7 series. Thus far, Joe has only been able to win with Egyptians. He's lost with Oranos, he's lost with Zeus. Will he have to use all his Egyptians first and then try and win that 7th game? Or will he be dealt with by the random god player for not being well-rounded enough? If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next game.